Hello, everyone. I'm Claudio Murgan, the host of the Spiritual Inspired podcast, and my guest today is Ronna Vezane. Ronna is an internationally known author, lecturer, and messenger for Archangel Michael. Over the past 25 years, his messages of hope and inspiration through Ronna have been featured in thousands of inspirational and spiritual publications around the world. These important wisdom teachings via the monthly messages in her books and ebooks have been translated and published in many major languages. Ronna's extensive background as an administrative assistant to the president of a large corporation and also as a real estate broker manager of a very successful real estate company in Southern California helped her prepare for her second career as an inspirational teacher, lecturer, and author. She teaches a common sense approach to the basic principles of spirituality. Ronna has published a total of 16 books. She is a living example of what she teaches to integrate the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious minds to heal the physical, emotional, and mental bodies, and to partner with spirit to become a self-master and a co-creator of love, abundance, peace, and joy. Ronna, thank you very much for joining me today. It's such an honor.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here. It's nice. It's nice to meet you, darling.
I will start by asking you, how was the first contact with Archangel Michael? Were you scared or prepared?
Yes, just briefly. I tell a very brief run through about how Michael came to me. I had a very tough first marriage, 21 years, but I had three wonderful children. And after I was divorced, then I married again. And it was wonderful. I'm glad I was poor first, because in the first one I was very, very poor. But in the second one, my husband was an executive with Western Airlines, which is no more longer, it became Delta.
Mhm.
And we traveled all over the world. And I got to go to all these wonderful sacred sites and everything, which I know was in preparation for what I'm doing. But I was a real estate broker. I've had a very, very extensive career and done a lot of things. But we both retired up into the foothills of San Diego, California, on a beautiful property, and we started raising Christmas trees. And so the country clubs and the flying first class, and it was wonderful. But all of a sudden, then he retired too. He retired. Both of us. We were both in our mid 50s, late 50s, which was kind of early to retire. But I began to get this divine discontent. Everything seemed to pale. It all seemed so superfluous and everything. And so I had some different indications, some different things I won't go into, where spirit was kind of nudging me. I realize it now. I didn't at the time. But I started reading. I started reading the Ascension. There wasn't much out there. We're talking about in the 70s now, okay, or in the early 80s. It was 82 when we retired, actually. And there wasn't a lot. Bailey, Blavatsky, all of those old books, and it was like, what does it say? What is the meaning? And then I started with excuse me. I started with a little group, and we began to study. I meditated every morning for 2 years in my bedroom. We had an acre and a half. It was exquisite. It was beautiful. And so my life was wonderful, but something was missing. And so I, all of a sudden, things kind of seemed to be out of it. I mean, everything was wonderful, but just didn't seem right. And I got bronchial pneumonia, and my back started bothering me. And one day I did yoga, and I was stretched out on the floor, and the tears were rolling out of my eyes. And it was symbolically like I took my soul, and I said, "Here, God, you take it. I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want me to do." And this voice boomed in my head. Well, it's about time. We've been waiting for you to get your ego out of the way so we can work with you. I am your master teacher. I am called Triton, Triton. You have agreed, but if you are willing, you are to bring forth some of the messages for the coming age, da 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 da. And from that moment, I became a cosmic telepath. And what happened, what I know now, was this was my oversoul higher self in the causal plane that sent down a memory seed atom into my sacred mind, which triggered it. I sent back one in acceptance, and I became an instant cosmic telepath. And I carried around a little recorder, all of these things about my past life, my painful time with my father, and with my first marriage, and it was just wonderful. I would go out and be working in the grove, pulling off the new growth, the little elementals to shape the trees, and getting all of this wonderful information. So soon I started doing readings, and then I started with this class, and I started channeling. I started on my computer channeling Triton. And then I started voice channeling him. And so actually what he was doing, he was preparing me for Archangel Michael. And there came a time, which was in the very, maybe 89, close to 90, in the 90s. And I was doing seminars. I was doing, in that time, we lost all of our savings, almost all of our savings. We had invested in a tax shelter that our government then denied and said wasn't legitimate. So I had to start working again. Wow. And so I started doing readings and past life readings. And I'm a quasi-astrologer. It's some spiritual astrology. And so there came a time in the 90s that Triton said, you have integrated our energy. We are as one. There is a greater being of light who will be coming to you. And I went to a little weekend retreat with a lot of ladies, and there were some who couldn't attend. And so when I came home, I sat down at my little recorder and was going to record a message for the ladies that couldn't attend. With Triton, it was just like shifting the radio dial. Well, all of a sudden, this energy came pouring through, and it was literally like a sword. It came down, and I had to stretch to accommodate it, and then it felt like it moved out across my chest, and this voice came booming through. I am the Archangel Michael. You have agreed to be my messenger, and the same type of thing that Triton had said. And again, a memory seed atom was exchanged, and I would take his. I didn't voice channel him for a long time. I took it on the first message on the computer, and it was good enough to be published in a magazine in Canada, by the way.
Wow.
And from that time on, I have put out a message from Michael every month since February of 1992. I have put out a message on those. And so, and I know it's happened to other people, but it was very, very dramatic.
Yes, beautiful story. And there are 2 points which reiterate the fact that we don't leave this earth with our physical possessions. So this, chase for accumulation, it's in the end worthless. Yes, we have to have a good life for sure, but we don't have to make a purpose out of it. And yes, the spiritual life is the spiritual aspect of our life is much more important. Mm-hmm. And the second part is that you mentioned that you received the seed, the remembrance of what you were supposed to do on this lifetime. So we all have a contract when we come here. And yes, most of us don't remember it, but at one point, the divinity will let us know that, okay, you are ready to start on your spiritual journey, or to serve the creator, serve me for the purpose of the others.
Yes, and in the teachings, Michael explains that we have a sacred mind. In our mind, we have frequency levels. We have like our animal human instinctive nature, which are the instinctive things that we do that are very basic and so on. Just like the animals, they go by instinct, and those the autonomic system and everything in the physical vessel. And then we have a conscious mind, those frequencies like are in the fourth dimension. But then we have a sacred mind. And that's what he calls memory see atoms. He says, see it like you go into this room and there are these, like in a bank, all these different little doors that as you lift your frequencies and your consciousness, those frequencies that are attuned to those higher wisdom teachings, the memory seed atoms, he says, see them like little diamond, white, come marching out. And with your intention and your frequencies, they are activated. That's called, we have our what we call the instinctual mind, the conscious mind, the intellectual mind, the intuitive mind, and the illumined mind. And so basically, you have to ask everybody, you could almost see, what mind are you using?
And is this part of the ascension process by
it's a primary main thing. It's what I like about Michael's teaching is that he gives us the step-by-step specifics to help us understand. We hear all of these things about your ascending, you're doing this, how, what, and heaven, what's heaven, but he gives us a picture or actually specifics and step by step so that we understand, which is important. It was esoteric, way back when we read those other things, but we weren't ready. They were in their human consciousness, using mostly their instinctual and conscious mind. And that was it.
Yes. Have you worked with other angels such as, Uriel, Gabriel, Raphael, or Michael is the only one you're working with?
Basically, I work with Dwal Kul, the descended master. He was my mentor. I have had more lifetimes in the Orient than I have in the West. He calls it the Oriental and Occidental. And I spent several lifetimes with him in Tibet. I saw myself as a young man with the bald head and the orange saffron robe up on the little stool doing the calligraphy. And so he was my mentor because Archangel Michael, there's a protocol. You don't ask Archangel Michael these mundane questions because he doesn't know. He'll give you a lofty answer that doesn't apply. So, and like I say, there is a protocol. You don't bug them with every little thing. But they're there. All I have to do is just shift my consciousness with Michael. And it's like shifting the radio dial. But Dwal Kul, I have worked with him before. And with him, I have Michael have brought forth a lot of those ancient teachings and upgraded them and simplified them. But Dwal Kul, I've worked very closely with, and but other than that, Michael and his divine complement, Lady Faith.
And during this lifetime, have you met other people who are in contact with Michael, and maybe you got together, exchange ideas, or
no? Not got. Oh well, yes. One time, my first big seminar was at Lake Louise at Michael's retreat, and it was called the Conclave of Michael. And this was this was in '94. We lived in San Diego, and I had as many as 200 people at the different events in San Diego and along the California coast. But they had this Conclave of Michael, and they had 3 different Michael channels, and they invited me to come and be one of those 3 channels. And it was very interesting because there was like 1,200 people there. And so I can just to show that he has a sense of humor. We did several little seminars at all of the channels and all the people there. And then when it was time for the final event, and the 3 of us were going to be on stage in front of all of this big audience, before I went to sleep, I was kind of frightened and or nervous. And he whispered, "Remember, beloved, it's me, not you. Just get your ego out of the way and let it happen." And he says, "And I will let you have I will give you a little preview, but if you're going to work with the big guys, you're going to have to let go of your training wheels."
Surrender, in other words.
And so that night he kind of let me know just a little bit. And so I walked on stage, and I've never been nervous since.
Yes, I just only imagine, that you have to have some stage fright, just to be in front of 1,200 people and not knowing what is going to come out of your mouth, because you have to surrender to that higher entity.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
beautiful.
yes. And I just see myself. There's different levels. He comes in full force when I'm up on stage. He's with me all the time, but he said, "We're taking it very slow with you." The night before, I had hot poker going up my back, and then the next morning, as I was preparing, I began to perspire. And until because he was turning it, turning up the juice. But but as I said, when I got on stage and I would feel him come through, then it was as if I moved my consciousness to the side. I'm not a trance channel. I knew what he was saying, but I didn't understand. It was as if I was just an observer. If he said something that was quite unique, I would go, oh, but I would have to listen to the video, listen to the audio after, in order to really get the message. Okay.
Yes. And what is his main, or what was his main message for the last, let's say, 3 to 5 years? Did he mention something special for humanity you had to share with us?
Absolutely, absolutely. I will explain this briefly because it is so beautiful. The Earth, this is the end of a great age. As you know, there's a lot of cycles astrologically and spiritually that are going through. The Earth is so important because first of all, our universe is a very young universe, or is a young universe, and he cut it into slices of pie. He said, "We're going to focus on this sub-universe because all of this diversity within this universe is different, just different programs trying to see what polarity and duality and how it works." And so we're one of the last, and here we are on this little planet Earth. And I'm sure it's happening other places, but he focuses on our subdimension because it's too much. You get all of these different things and people can't comprehend it. So let's just take our little slice of the pie. And so here we are. I'm sure you know that we are supposed to resonate to the harmonics of 12. But when we sank into the density, we were not supposed to go below the fourth dimensional level, just tap into the third. But we sank into the third, into our animal, our instinctive animal human nature. And so, therefore, we are keeping our solar system from progressing. We are resonating to these harmonics of 7, and we now have to integrate the 5 galactic rays. And so, first of all, in my teachings, in my I am mastery, or the quest for mastery classes, the first thing he has us do, we have like 7 mind centers, chakras. They're like 7 different energy systems, or 7 programs, and they all have a purpose, and they're supposed to spin harmonically and create a rod of power, a rod of light. But they're all distorted, which creates all this distortion in our lives. And and we function mostly on those 3 lower chakras of survival, the instinctual nature of power, of fear, and just our base identity of survival, and so on. And so the first thing we do is we must begin to, first of all, humanity at large is they're not aware of self. They're unaware. And they're not aware that they're not aware.
Yes.
So, so the first thing is self-awareness. The first thing is even just like all of a sudden, this isn't working. I need to know more. And I began to seek more. And he said, like Michael said, it's so sad that way back when, before we began to now to make this passage, rite of passage, most humans, they were in a herd state. That's why Jesus said, guard my flock. And because we were told what to do, our family, the religion, the culture, our government, our teachers, most people never had an original thought of their own.
Yes, indeed.
And so there comes a time when you think, that doesn't feel right. That's not me. And you begin to turn inward for validation. Like he said, Michael says over and over again, do not take anything anyone says without running it through your heart monitor. How does it feel? Is it loving? Is it important? Is it valid? Does it assist you? Or is it fearful? It is controlling? Is it threatening? And
Yes.
so that beginning then, but okay, we're going to begin to learn what all of this means, how it works, this esoteric, this higher frequency stuff that we don't even know what it's called and we don't understand it. So in my Scripting Your Destiny, they start out the root chakra. It means this. It means your survival. It means your base nature, and then your sexual energy, your reproductions. Each gives the positive and the negative of each of those mind centers. And then he starts us out toning vowel sounds, because we are electromagnetic, energetic people who, a race who magnetize energy to us and we radiate energy from us. And the energy is even the memory seed atoms, even our divine blueprint. Like you said, my divine blueprint and that memory seed atom was there, but I had to accept it and add the force to it. The program was there. I had to give it the juice. I had to give it the electricity.
Yes. And because you mentioned chakras, and some of us are aware of the chakra system, and that we have to awaken the Kundalini. But
Yes.
it's one thing to have the desire and through breathing to try to awaken it, but is at the same time a divine message that has to come to us and tell us, yes, you are ready. And even if we are aware, but we are not ready, will the chakras will be awakened or not?
Okay, let me give you this, because this is something most recently that each between lives in the beginning, we did not come into the level that we heard the term starseed. There are souls on Earth that this solar system and the Earth is their first incarnation. I mean, Michael talks about the cosmic incubators, where these sparks of divinity that have been sent forth are like they're in an intensive care unit. And and this is like in our sub-universe. So they're beginning a new project on a lower dimension. And here are these new souls waiting to be awakened to their I am presence, or to their God spark of divinity. Mm-hmm. And so that is their level of awakening and their level of understanding. And so in our solar system, there's no new souls coming. There haven't been for a couple of hundred, all old souls, because the Earth is, it is time for it to go forward. And so, but here now we're talking about on our Earth, the program was, as we had our oversoul higher self in the fifth dimension, and then we came down and we were ready to fragment, to experience experiment duality and polarity. And so a lot of us as starseed who came into our individual consciousness many, many ages ago, and even in other universes and so on, there had to be overseers, those of us who came here to oversee and to be guides. That was our divine blueprint. So let's take your divine blueprint and mine. So when I agreed to do this, They told me what I would. They gave me an overview of my lifetime, what it would be like. And they showed me. They told me the attributes and things, but they also showed me what I would have to experience, the negative things. And we looked down and we thought, oh, I can do that. So my mother carried me actually a month overdue. So I would have the astrological configuration that I got. But anyway, we sank into the density. And so we have our divine blueprint in this beautiful diamond core God cell. It's like a hologram. And that came down into our soul star. So this process, so people can understand, we did not get that downloaded in what he calls our diamond core God cell, which is within our sacred heart. When we went into our mother's uterus, when our mother and father created that, there was the first little hologram that was implanted. That was from 1 to 7 years as our baby and our very young child years. In the Kundalini, there are 3 different memory seed atoms. One has a reserve of adamantine particles, which are the God-conscious adamantine particles with our divine blueprint in it. And there's another one, just of pure adamantine particles. That's the energy that we are to use to activate our intention. That's where we use our force. That's that pure light. And then there's a third one that's another smaller one that is the last, what we're using, what a lot of us are using now, the last residual negative memory seed atoms that we have to clear. People are having a lot of physical, a starseed and us that have been on the path, all of these different weird serious symptoms and so on. Those last cleanup energies that we're experiencing. So from 1 to 7. At 7, we get a soul download from our Kundalini, and it comes from the root chakra. Okay, it wants to come up. Those 3 first chakras, it comes up into those. It can't pass the heart. The first 3 are below the heart. So the first one at 7, in the Bible, I don't know the exact quote, but they said every 7 years your body will renew itself, and it says it differently, but that's that download of your soul self. So that's the first chakra, to help you to understand your survival issues, and that it's a give and take, and the good part of it, not the negative. And then at 14, at puberty, you have another one. And then around 21, you have another one. And that's the third. The fourth, even the fourth dimension, the lower fourth dimension is the astral plane. And that's what we're clearing so that we can return and open our heart. We have a sacred heart and a sacred mind, but they have a membrane of light over them that we can't reach them until we have cleared 50% of our karmic, 50% of our major karma. In other words, beginning to understand and make good, better, or best, decisions. So that fourth one, that should open the heart. If you haven't done that, and we're not projecting at least 1 or 2% positive energy, that energy goes back down. Like, this is a lot of humanity pass away without ever tapping into those keys to the kingdom.
Yes, it's not an easy process. Again, this is my understanding. It's a lot of work we have to put in. We have to be, determined to get there, to get to the top. And unless we have the environment and again determination, it's quite hard, because there are so many distractions in our daily life, from family to friends to work, and all these deterrents will take our focus away from the main goal, which is the spiritual achievement.
Yes, and so there are lots of very, very good people out there, but they just really haven't tapped into. Another part of that is like so the creator power, the greatest power that there is like 220 voltage. Okay. That's the God essence, the pure creator essence that our Father, Mother God wants us to have. And so as we sank into the density, we dropped down to 110.
Mm-hmm.
We're only using half spectrum energy. We had what you call a spectrum of light and shadow. There was a program because duality. So here we are in this column within this pyramid, in this column of light. And so it's supposed to be light and shadow evenly. And so that was to give us, and we had total free will, which was unusual. That hadn't been experimented. It was always free will with conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And so people, instead of, and we were supposed to be also, there is a law, there must be an energy exchange for of some kind, so we're supposed to be sending back loving energy into, out into the others and to God. And so that was the first tithing. That was the first thing about tithing. So instead of using it a proper way after we sank into density, well, first of all, a lot of the mother god energy was lifted and left more the masculine than, mother god is creative, intuitive, loving, compassionate, and the father energy is the seed thoughts, the linear, the outward focus, the power, and the will. And so we kind of got out of balance there. And so our light quotient began to sink, and our shadow side began to grow. And so the half spectrum light can be used for light or not, or for not good. It can be used in other words, you sending out, we do create our own reality, our thoughts, our frequencies, what we tap into, that's what we give energy to. And so you can see what's happened to us. But now that those of us who have opened our heart and we have created, we've balanced our chakra system. And so we now have a rod of light instead of all this distorted energy. So we're getting frequencies of light, our divine blueprint and energy from this way, from the front and back portals of our heart, and also the personal divine blueprint and energy that was waiting there for our higher self within our Kundalini. So we're getting it through the pillar and through the cross as well. The cross of matter is very important. It's very symbolic because we are now harmonized within that. The adamantine particles can only be programmed and activated with the highest good for all, for my greatest good and the greatest good of all humanity. And then we put our seed thoughts out there, and the adamantine particles pour through. My life has been a miracle. I am not saying it's been easy. I've gone through a lot of very tough tests, but here I am, 94 years old.
Wow.
And I'm a self-made, with all the, I didn't finish high school. I got married when I was 16 years old. And and one of the first things that Michael said, my first seminar title was "Walk Your Talk, Fly Your Vision."
Wow. Interesting.
So that's what's happening with people now. The opportunity's there, and if they just knew. He says, and so because the earth is ascending too, all they have to do is get to that heart center. And a lot of this stuff that's happening now, it's not punishment. It has to happen. Out of chaos comes new creation.
Yes, and the more light beings we have, like yourself, we can counterbalance the ones which are not awake or will ever be awake. And I think one light being like you can counterbalance maybe 1 million or 2 million of those which are in dark.
And you too, all of us, we can overcome. That's what I say, Bryce, with the people that, getting caught in the negativity and the drama and the fear. What you focus on, Michael says, if you do nothing else but bring in the maximum amount of energy that your body can contain, and it's, like what information, words, knowledge. That's what it is, information. You have to turn it to knowledge. In other words, how does this fit? How do I understand this? What can I do with this? Then you have to turn that, you have to bring it in and make it wisdom by beginning to use the concepts, adding it to your puzzle pieces so that then you can live it. And Michael starts at like with scripting your destiny. That's the workbook, and the workbooks that I have that take us step by step through that. And he says, if you do nothing more than bring a maximum amount of energy that you can contain and make it yours and share it with the earth and humanity, it is enough.
Yes, beautiful. And Ronna, you mentioned the challenges you had in your life. Is there a hierarchy in the unseen realm where, let's say, who comes first to your aid? Is the angels, the spiritual guides? Which one is first to help?
Which one do I refer to help? Is that what you're saying? What
in general, let's say to a common guy like myself, who is going to come to my rescue? Is the angels or my spiritual guides?
Okay. You have some guardian angels that you have a couple of which are your oversoul higher self, but like when people they ask me after they've been to seminars, all these things, and I used to do readings. I still do cosmic readings on the computer, but anyway, they'd call me and say, "Do you do readings?" And I said, "Not anymore." He says, "Well, can you recommend someone?" And Michael told me, "Tell them I recommend you." Because as you begin to clear that column of light, what I said, you're in your conscious mind, tap into your own sacred mind, and you will begin to get intuitive information. And then after that, then as you tap into the oversoul self, then you will be getting from your oversoul self. But you do have guides and angels that are there to help you. Everyone does, but they will be at the frequency levels where you are, and there was a teacher before that said you lose your guides, and they got real frustrated. Well, that's because you go to higher frequency guides. They're there, but people don't listen because the guides are whispering. They're not listening. They're busy, buzzy. What I call it, their monkey mind is so busy. So first of all, tap into your own radio station. What is your busy, buzzy mind saying all the time? Because that's what's frazzling up your auric field. You see, we had this auric field, and they call it our Adam and Eve Cadmon body, our original blueprint. It was perfect. But gradually, as the negative energy began to infiltrate, it got disturbed, it got frenetic, it got distorted until it came into the physical body and created what we are now. It's reversed. We are now healing that from the inside out. So as you begin to heal, I had 5 surgeries and 6 broken bones before I was 55 years old.
Wow.
And since that time, basically, my blood chemistries are good. I have a little trouble with my balance because my pelvis girdle was broken when I was 5 years old, and that's been one of those things, like they say, you will have some things that you will just have to work with. Someone says, "Why can't you heal yourself?" And I says, well, that's because one of those things that you can't change if you want to be tall or short or whatever. That was one of those things I just had to learn to live with.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, basically, my health is excellent.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, you are honestly the oldest guest I've had so far. It's just amazing.
And so, I traveled all over the world. I've had 7 trips over in Japan, and there were 300 and 400 people at a time. And from 1996 until 2011, I stopped going overseas. But I have traveled the world by myself, and Michael has taken good care of me. And it's the miracles of things that happened, I can't even begin to tell you. But I tell people it isn't easy, but I'll tell you it's worth it. And I never in a million years expected that I would become what I have become. But it's who I am now, and it's very comfortable. but to just to project and to let people know what is waiting for them, and to know that they are such beautiful beings. Their inside is a magnificent person, that soul self, that covering we've got now. That's just this time, that's just something in transit and so on. And we've never had so much help. And so the thing is the first, and with meditation, like I said, prayer is talking to God. Meditation is listening for an answer.
Yes.
And you don't have to go into some big, we teach toning the chakras and the infinity breath, because people do not deep breathe. The breath is the conduit of the energy, and people just start doing those things, and it begins to change their life.
Yes, and you mentioned the soul. The soul has to compete with ego's instant gratification, and that's a big challenge, a big fight.
Yes.
to win.
Yes, yes.
Ronna, I would like to ask you a sensitive question. There is a lot of talk about the 12,000-year cycle that involves sun activity that affects life on Earth, resulting in potential earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis. And there is no divine intervention 12,000 years ago, 24,000, 48,000 years ago, respectively. Should we expect some divine intervention this time?
Some expect divine intervention?
Yes, to prevent such cataclysms.
Okay. The Mother Earth is trying, she's ascending too. And let me go back. In every age before, there were great avatars, all of the great avatars and these great beings that came to Earth in order to activate all these different ages, the races and the subroot races, East India, all of the different ones. People know who they are, what they are. But this time, there's no avatars coming. Within the Earth are great crystalline structures. And there's also the violet flame, which is for this, we're talking about our Earth. And this violet flame, it is the age of Aquarius, and all of this negativity and all of this rigidity has to be brought into neutrality in order to, out of chaos comes, destruction and chaos comes new creation. And so during this time now, the astral planes have to be cleared. That spectrum of light and shadow has to be brought back into that balance. And we're talking about from the first dimension up. That's about the ascension of the Earth. And so here we are on the astral planes. Most everybody is existing in that mass consciousness belief system from who knows how far back. That's what we existed in, that negativity. Mm-hmm. That's being cleared. The elementals, the Devi kingdom, and the elements, that's the way she, her breathing system, and so, the fire, earth, air, and water. And so that has to be healed. They say we will not be destroyed this time. We will not be destroyed. But there has to be a lot of people leaving the earth, for they cannot reach that level within their heart. And let me focus on that so I don't miss it. Michael says everyone is ascending. How can that be? Those, like with COVID and all of those who are passing now, there's, thousands, hundreds, it's rampant. Those are the ones, not all of them, but those that have not opened their heart and are not, at that level, they are taken to these intensive care units. It's like in the fifth dimension. They used to cycle off, on and off in the astral planes and in our solar system. Now they go into the fifth dimension, into like these hospital intensive care units. And they are in the frequencies that their auric field. The teaching of purgatory is correct, because we are living in our own hell that we have created those frequencies until we balance them. So the angels of mercy are radiating energy, loving energy to all of those people until they return. to that balance of heart center so they can move into that column of light. And then they will go to a new planet, a new star system to begin at that level and go forward. Isn't that beautiful?
It's
Isn't that
amazing. Yes.
isn't that beautiful to know? And also, I had my youngest son. I have two beautiful older children, and he went to live with his father when he was about 13, and because he liked the horses and the motorcycles and all that type of thing, and he became a drug addict. And after I bailed him out of jail a lot of times and everything, till it got to the point I said, I can't do this anymore, Gary. And he lived in another state. And so I've always sent him love. I haven't heard from him in 30 years, but he was always in my prayers. Michael took that pain and he put it in a bubble of love so that, so I said, if I'm going to do my work, I need help. I need help to contain this pain. And so it's been a bubble of love. And so I know it was his journey. And I know I did nothing wrong. But I sent him love, and I says, does he receive it? And he said, beloved, every person has angels of mercy with them. And all the love that the mother loved, we can send forth pure love in the violet flame. We can't send forth the other rays of the attributes and things because that'd be infringing. But the violet flame and that beautiful pink mother love, which for their greatest good, we can send as much as we want. If their heart isn't open, then if they do open their heart, there it is. And if it isn't, the heart isn't open by the time they transcend, that pours forth to them, and they know who it's from.
Hmm.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
Oh, I cried.
So another underlining the fact that we each have our own contract and we have to carry to the end. And even if we don't realize in this lifetime what our mission was, we're gonna be reminded as soon as we cross over. And also the attachments to physical things and the beings around us
Yes.
has to be in place, because otherwise the pain will be too much to carry.
Yes, absolutely. And so along with that, now what's happening? The earth is in this turmoil. And let me go back and finish that story about the masters with the ones that activated all of these sacred places. And the divine blueprints are in the earth. They are in the earth. The old ages were focused on the Eastern world. As you know, this new age is focused in the North American and South American continents. And so there are these great crystalline structures. Well, let's go back even. When the earth was formed, there were these great crystal pillars. You've seen some of these great crystals in the earth down in South America. They're
Yes.
huge, bigger than buildings. There were these great spirals. They are receivers and they're senders of energy. And because we were in our base nature, that was the way that we received the energy and radiated the energy back. But as the earth changed, those broke and folded and were broken into all of these small pieces within the earth. But within the earth, around the earth, are all of these, what you might say, energy centers for each new age, like in Europe, all the ages of, look how contaminated all of those sacred sites have gotten.
Yes.
And so these others, the new ones, are like on pilot night. They have to be activated. The age of the Aquarian blueprint is there, but we have to activate it. And that's what the starseed are here to do and to help people. And so that's what we have been doing. My business partner, Randall Monk, he's a memory seed activator of sacred places. And it's amazing the energy that he has, that he helps to others to activate those memory seed atoms. And the crystalline energy, we were the crystalline energy when we first came, but they kept that form. And just like, this is my Michael crystal. This crystal came to me in a very, very interesting way after I started channeling. And I used to meditate with it. And one morning, I'll always in my left hand. And one morning it became very hot. And the words came out, I am called Excalibur. I am symbolic of the tip of Archangel Michael's sword. And I have returned to you so you will remember from where you came. So that is stayed with me. It's for all these years. And then this is Lady Faith. And let me tell you, well, a lot of people, when we say Father, Mother, God, they get very disturbed. Oh, there's Father God. There's no Mother God. Because, and are you familiar with the Vesica Pisces sign?
Yes.
Okay. For this duality, yes, the great creator is the supreme creator, is all it is, all just this great sphere, this great whole, everything is that ever been, everything it will be. But I think it was in this universe of duality, because it was going to be an experiment in polarity. They seem to separate. The left side is the father, that linear, analytical, the seed thoughts. And the mother is the creative, the loving, the intuitive. And so they separated so that Pisces sign inside. So, and we are the Trinity, the Trinity sign, and the pyramid is a very important geometric sign. So that's the father, the mother, and the father sends all the seed thoughts and the divine blueprint, and it's put into the cosmic womb. The mother sends the love and the energy and the compassion to it that activates it, and it creates the paradise son and daughter. And so we've always seen them like this. I've always had Michael at my right shoulder and Faith on my left. In July of this year, I had a download that was in fact, I've just finished a book, Ronna's Rite of Passage, when a cosmic council of light. I mean, it's been a grand, I am in that null zone just as I begin to dip into the fifth dimension. So that's another story. That's where a lot of us are working now. But anyway, this energy came through me, and actually my arms went out like this, just in meditation, and then they went up this way. And then I got, as I do, this vibration, just this energy pouring through me. And I had asked her, why are you so quiet? Why are you not more active in my life? Why just Archangel Michael? And she says, my beloved, I have been with you for many lifetimes. I have watched over you and your gentle, nurturing nature, but you needed the energy of the Father. You needed to take back your power, your will and authority. And so I have always been here for you, but it was my beloved that had to bring you this energy and help you through this rite of passage. And she said, but you now have integrated your right and left hemispheres of your brain. And so now we can once again, we can merge. And I felt the two of them come together at the back portal of my heart. And she says, we are now united.
Beautiful. And talking about unity, again, it is my understanding that we are one with God. We are a particle of God in a physical form.
Yeah.
But those who attend church and believe in God also think themselves as separate from God. What do you think it will take to change their mentality, their perspective?
Yeah. Well, in the churches, most of them, they have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, that's the Father, the Holy Spirit is the mother, and the Son is the son and daughter. And I say it's an S-U-N, not an S-O-N.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Good. Ronna, have you traveled to other universes or dimensions?
Yes, I have. A number of times. The one that was the most exciting when I was in San Diego and I was doing readings, and there was a little Chinese doctor who was an acupuncturist, and I had a bone spur that was really bad on my heel, and she actually healed it. And so I did a reading. I would do an astrological chart for them, and then Archangel Michael would come in, and I had a light that shined the 7 rays down on where they were. And that's when I first started toning their chakra system. Michael would have me tone so that I could feel where their chakras were out of balance. And I would often ask them, do you feel like you're an angelic being? Or do you feel, I don't know, or this, several different things? Or are, do you feel like you've been, what do you feel like you've been in the past? And she says, I feel like I was a dragon. Don't laugh, but I feel like I was a dragon. And see, the way it worked, even when I have a group, a person would come to work with me and Michael would connect with their energy, and then he would connect with mine, and then he would connect the two of us. But with the groups, the group hologram can only go to the level of the person who has the less frequencies. In other words, it more or less that can't go, that determines.
Mm-hmm.
And so even when I work with my soul group, I usually will only have one or two people at a time. The ones that I know are harmonic or they're pretty much attuned. Okay, so we're working up here. I'm not going to bring the level of the teachings I'm bringing, at that level, so you understand. So anyway, Michael, he came in and he said, okay, something like, I don't usually do this, but this one, it is confusing. And there's going to be more and more about the Dragon Kingdom, and it's time you begin to understand it. So he put us in a sphere of light, the two of us, and he took us out, and I don't know where, but here are these great dragons flying around. And there's the builders of form, there's the Elohim, the great that actually take the energy. How does that work? Okay, so God, the Father God, sends the seed thoughts to the mother, and then all that's sent out. And how does creation start? Well, the pyramidal form in our sub-universe, and I think to the universe, I don't know, that's where all of these energy, the seed thoughts are gone. But how did they get there? So it's sent then to the great dragons, first of all, that bring it in, that pure energy, and they breathe it into the pyramids of light. They look like dragons because, but let's go down to our level. Here we are, and that's at the 6th and 7th dimension, and they work with the David Kingdom. But each archangel has a dragon brigade, and they are of the colors. They are of the colors and the frequency that archangel sends forth. And so the scales look like all these different colors. And then when they're blowing, and the fire that they're breathing forth, they're sending it into these pyramid of light, these storehouses of light. Hmm. Look at the dragons have become, and all of us for a short time went to that star system or that area just to draw forth. We had to learn how to co-create. We had to start somewhere. We started there. As these, as like infants, and began to experiment with the light. So you see a lot of these myths and all these things, these great magnificent beings. And so that are the bearers of the cosmic light. So the archangels have their dragons. The David Kingdom, the great David, has their energy, and the dragons send it forth to humanity. The archangels send it to humanity. The dragons send it to the earth and to all of the element, the rest. So it is divine. But they're there, and they're magnificent. I have 4 big dragons here in my house, beautiful dragons, and more and more people are. I even channel sometimes now someone that has spent so much time in the Dragon Kingdom that they don't fit real well here. So talk about science fiction, and let people think what they want, but it makes so much sense. But here, those great sweeping, it looked like wings and like but it's sweeping program light that they are bringing down through all the dimensions. It has to get here somewhere, somehow, and
yeah.
So,
There's so much in the invisible world, the realm, and we are still fighting over small, trivial things here on Earth without, focusing on what
yes,
it's important
I know,
to discuss.
and it kind of rattles your mind. But then when you begin to open your mind to the possibilities, just like with okay, I'll A lot of people are going to go, oh, yeah, sure. So with something like that, I say, don't close your mind. Just kind of set it aside. Just kind of set it aside and ask that if it's to be your truth, it'll be validated. And for me, if it's something really important, I want it validated 2 or 3 times, like in the physical, not just intuitively. And it always happens.
Yes, it's very beautiful, very beautiful. Ronna, have you been given any hint of where are you going from here, from the earth?
Okay, like I say, a lot of people are who are pushing. They've pretty much balanced that higher fourth dimensional energy, and they're doing their work. They're doing their best. They're hanging in there. We have to rise above it and look at everything from a higher perspective, so we don't get sucked in. I call it being in the world, but not of it.
Mhm.
So, and let me just give you this quickly because I've mentioned the hologram several times. And so Michael has said, you're not going in a linear fashion. You're going back to the past, healing the past as you spiral upward into the future. And I understand that they say we're healing the past, just like they taught you are affected by 7 generations in the Bible, of your ancestry. Okay, so if we're going back to the past, healing our past and changing that for our ancestors, that would create so much chaos. How could it do that? That would create a universe of chaos. It's in our DNA and it's in holograms. And so you move into that hologram of that lifetime. And I have a trilogy out it isn't channels. It was inspired of 6 of my important lifetimes. That was when Triton, when he first was working with me, I was walking across the yard to go up to the Grove. And he says, you will write a book and it'll be called Once Upon a New World. And I said, oh, no, I won't. But immediately, I had been a secretary, so I was good at shorthand and typing. Every evening, he started downloading, and it seemed like a he, wasn't a he, but he seemed to be masculine. I started taking on a big notepad all of these stories, and next day I'd go in and transcribe it. I ended up with 326 pages of 6 stories. I went to an agent and she said, well, this is wonderful, but it needs to be expanded. It's now 3 books and it's over 800 pages. And these are some of my major three different lifetimes where I was martyred for my mission. Later on, Michael says, well, now I would like you to start writing the books of messages. And I said, well, why? The trilogy hasn't been a success like it should be. And he says, well, let me tell you this way, beloved. First of all, it was a test. It was to see if you had something tenacity to stay with it and to show you that you could write. And then thirdly, your ego was so tied to this work because, and I was very proud of it. If that had been a great success, now you would not have gone on to your true work. And so, but it has been a success and the stories are, they're wonderful. They're very, one in Atlantis and I was a warrior maid and I was a native healer in Africa. And but anyway, I got off the track now. Oh, we're going back to holograms. Here again, you have a birth hologram, like we were talking about your divine blueprint. So that's your birth hologram, and that's your family. So that's your divine blueprint there. And then as you evolve, you have, like if you marry or you have relationships, you have a family friend hologram. And we live in a city hologram. We live in a state hologram. We live in a country hologram. And within those holograms are the frequencies. So like now, let's take our world. That's why we say we're in this world, but we're not of it. Because the chaos is down here in the 3rd and 4th dimension. And we're not moving up to the top, we're moving to the core, or the core of essence, where it's a purity. And so many of us are what are called the null zone of the 5th dimension, where as we move forward, I mean, in my little gems of wisdom and so on, a lot of time I'll say, it's instant karma. It's instant karma now. It's instant karma. There's no more than all this lifetime. They've taken away our total free will. We no longer have total. We were destroying ourselves. And so now it's free will conditions, but the karma doesn't wait another lifetime. It's coming, like I say, it's coming right around and biting us in the butt. It's instantaneous. And so much of this stuff is up, it's up right in our face. So people, they're in this dull zone. And we're finishing up, like I said, that third little memory seed atom that has those final negative conditions. Those are the things we need to clear, because we are manifesting things so much quicker. And if we don't come into harmony, we're going to create more chaos. And so it's a fine-tuning us for the next level, because each level, there's higher frequencies, there's expanded knowledge, there's expanded talents, gifts, opportunities, and privileges. And so we have to prepare for it. So it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's actually they're doing what's right.
Yes, we have so much work to do, so much work to apply on ourselves and get there. And yes, indeed. Ronna, the time has passed so fast. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Any final thoughts?
I just want to say to everyone, you're not alone. This unity consciousness, Michael has us build our own personal pyramid in the fit. We don't build it, it's there, it's activated, because we have an etheric replica there. And you go there, just envision yourself going to this beautiful pyramid. There's a crystal table, and you have your guides and teachers there. Michael actually offers us 4 angelic guides from his legions of light. All you have to do is ask. And so if you really want to begin to tap into your higher self, you're there waiting. Your higher self is there waiting. So just envision that pyramid and that beautiful table, and in your mind, meditation, whatever, to see yourself going there and create it. Mine has a beautiful crystal floor, and it has windows that look out into the galaxy. And I have a computer where I can feel like I can go to the past or the future. But and it's there waiting for you with your next level of your higher self. And they are stationed. How do you think we came down through all of that? We left an etheric replica at this level, each level that had the frequencies of that part of us, of that part of our sacred self. And then we divided that and diminished it. Down, down, down. We are reuniting with ourself. So start there. You're not alone. Don't take what everybody else says that you are. Listen to your higher self. It will tell you how beautiful, how magnificent, how intelligent, the wonderful things that you've done in the past, that you're not learning anything new. You're just remembering what you've forgotten.
Yes. No more excuses.
Yes. And so fill yourself with that love for yourself. Set boundaries. Don't look to outside of yourself for validation. Validate it in your heart. Once you feel that bliss, that wonderful Father, Brother, God energy, that love for you, you will never, ever doubt again that you aren't a beloved child of our Father, Brother, God.
Ronna, thank you very much. I know you are protected and loved, but I'm going to send you my blessings and my love for this wonderful interview. Thank you very much.
I would like to mention my website, www.starquestmastery.com, and I wish you would mention that again too, please, for me.
Yes, I will mention that in the description and during the promotion of the interview. Thank you very much.
So I invite all of you to come into my group pyramid. We just come and join us, anyone, and you won't feel alone. And I send everyone my love and blessings. Thank you, darling.
Thank you. And to my viewers, thank you for watching, share it, like it. Visit my website to get a free copy of my book. And until next time, love and gratitude.